Warning. This podcast was intended for mature audiences. The intention of the podcast is to be relatively lighthearted, so please do not take anything too seriously. Hope you enjoy it.
I'll do this one.
Alright, good afternoon, good morning, and good night, wherever you are in the world. It's us, the Slightly Improper Podcast, back here. It's Raph and Connor once again. Today we've actually got quite a good lineup today, I feel. What do you feel about that, Raph?
Yeah, I think we've got a pretty decent lineup. Next week's going to be even better, though. We got a special guest coming on next week.
It's not only do we have a special guest, but it's also the Halloween special.
Oh, it is?
Which, I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy, I'm going to say that. So make sure you tune in next week, as well as, keep tuned in for this week, because this is also pretty hectic.
It's a pretty good week.
Pretty good week.
We've decided to start with our, not movie segment, but, our movie section that we kind of have consistently come up with each week. So, we're going to start off with the movie section. We have a few good ones today. A few good recommendations, things we've been watching recently. And Connor had one to start off the first. Connor, what have you watched this week, or what have you been diving into this week?
This week I actually watched a few movies. I'm only gonna, mention, I think, two. I think that's what we decided on. So the first movie I'm gonna mention is, I think it's a Netflix original, Hubie Halloween. Now, this movie, it's got Adam Sandler. I'm also disclaimer before we do get into these movies. There is probably going to be spoilers, so I mean, just be wary of that. So yeah, again, first movie I watched was Hubie Halloween, and yeah, so the main character portrays Adam Sandler as this, essentially, the sort of joke of the town, I guess you could say.
So he's not acting, it's the real Adam Sandler.
The real Adam Sandler. No, so his name is Hubie. And then, people go around calling him Puby. I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
But it's basically, he's this, again, like, town joke, and he ends up having to save the day. And I found it actually, it was quite funny because it had quite a few big big names in sort of that comedy sort of Hollywood industry. Like, it had Kevin James, is it? I think.
Yeah, I'm really bad with actor names.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it had quite a few good names in it. I actually really enjoyed it. So I do recommend that. I don't really know what else to say because I don't really want to spoil it too much.
I assume it is a comedy though, because Adam Sandler's in
it. It is a comedy, yes.
Cool. No, I actually didn't see that. I think I might have just cancelled my Netflix subscription. And I'm trying something else, but I'll still find a way to watch it, I think. If it's worth it, then everyone take a watch. And it's Halloween themed, It's Halloween themed.
Absolutely,
it is Halloween time. You said Iron Fist as well.
I've been watching Iron Fist quite a lot, actually, recently. I watched the first season, I think, in 3 days.
Holy shit.
So, not too bad. They're only hour episodes, she'll be right. Only 13 of them. But if you don't know what Iron Fist is, it's essentially, it's set in the Marvel universe. In, I don't know what city it's in. It's set within a city. It's about this guy who was in a plane crash when he was, I don't know, 15 or something. And then, 15 years later, he resurfaces, and, because his parents were millionaires, and they owned this big company. They're trying to get back into the company. He's trying to get back into the company because, of course, his parents died in the plane crash. And yeah, then, he's faced with all these challenges, and he just, it's hard to explain, but I recommend you watch Iron Fist season 1. It does have references to other Marvel TV series such as Daredevil in it as well. So also recommend Daredevil. Very, very good TV series.
I think I watched Iron Fist when I was in Year 9. I think I watched it. I know I was into it quite a lot at one point.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I stopped watching it at one point as well because it got cancelled. I think it got cancelled. Did it get?
I don't know. It's got a second season. I know that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. All those like Marvel Netflix shows that all connect up, are they like still a thing, or did they like kind of just do it and now it's like done?
I'm actually not sure if they're still going, honestly, because I know they're bringing out like the next wave of the Marvel TV series on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know
true.
if you've seen that, like
Yeah, I think I
the
have.
Loki one, and there's a few other ones as well that are planned for release. But yeah, I couldn't tell you if they're still going or if they've been cancelled.
No, I think they're still worth watching though. I think they're like all pretty well made shows. Even if you're just bored and just like looking for something to watch, it's worth watch. Could recommend.
Absolutely.
And the last one you have is 5 Feet Apart. That one's an interesting one. That's one I'm interested to hear about because I think I did see a trailer for it. I think, and you said it had Sprouse in it.
So yeah, it's got Cole Sprouse in it, and I don't know I can't remember who the other actor was, but basically it's about these two. They've both got cystic fibrosis, and if you know anything about CF, essentially they can't come within 6 feet of each other because they can't spread their bacteria. And these two, they've both got CF, two different types of CF, but and then they of course they fall in love, and then they get a pool cue.
Pool cue.
And they're approximately 5 feet, so they use that, and all that stuff. I haven't actually finished the movie yet, so I don't know what happens at the end.
Fair.
I'm still like 20 minutes off the end still, or something like that. I got distracted.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair. It still seemed like a pretty decent movie.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I feel the ending's gonna be sad, but I don't know.
I feel like I don't know the vibe I got from it, like seeing the trailers and stuff. Have you seen The Fault in Our Stars? That like movie. That
I haven't watched it yet. No, I've always felt like watching it, but I've never actually watched it.
Yeah, that was a classic. I remember like years ago going to the cinemas, like in 2014, and seeing it, and it was just like. I think I went with like a group of guys and a group of girls, and all the guys were like, "Why is everyone so sad?" And I was just like, "It's about and it's about a movie with like a girl who has cancer, or is it? Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember. I think they both have cancer. And it's got a story like that. No. Ansel Elgort and someone else. She was a really popular actress at the time. But anyway, that's a good movie. But yeah, it's similar.
Another movie I've been meaning to watch as well is the Perks of Being a Wallflower. You recommended that the other day, and I still haven't watched it.
It's really good. Like I'm personally a sucker for like coming of age or like semi-romance films. Like
same.
Perks of Being a Wallflower is like a really good one. It's not a bit more. I wonder.
It's got Logan Lerman in it, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's got the guy from Percy Jackson.
Logan Lerman. Yeah,
he's really good in it. He's really good. And it's a good film. It's not long either. I don't think it's only like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, or maybe a little bit less. Anyway, I recommend it to anyone like listening or watching. And you, Connor, it's super good. It's good coming of age, but it's also a bit more touching as well. I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
But on the more heartfelt side as well. Yeah,
I 100% think it's On the topic of heartfelt films, I have written down as like kind of my film recommendation as Lion, and you said you hadn't seen Lion either.
I have not seen this. No, I should wait.
Maybe you have.
I think I watched parts of it with my parents.
Oh really?
What's it? Go. What it's about, and it might click.
Lion is it's based on like a true story, and it's about an Indian boy who got lost from his family and ended up being adopted into an Australian family, and then getting older and then going like on a journey to find his family that are in a part of India that is secluded and hard to find. And it's essentially about his experience being being foreign to a new place and coming from a harsh background and stuff like that. It's a good movie. It's like one of the only movies I've cried in or felt sad in. I felt it was a super good movie. I loved it.
I haven't seen the movie as such. I just happened to watch the ending of it, like the last 5 minutes, because my parents were watching it. Of course, I was probably playing Counter-Strike or something. Game finished. I walked up, watched the last 5 minutes. Oh, that was alright.
Yeah. No, I recommend watching the full thing if you have the chance, or anyone out there. It's like it was on Netflix, I think, for a while. I don't know if it still is.
I think it's on Prime at the moment. I think.
No, if you have the opportunity, I recommend it though. It's a really good film. It's sad though too. If you want a sad film, go for Lion. It's good. Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring it back a segment as well when we were talking about Logan Lerman and Percy Jackson. I actually read the first Percy Jackson again this week.
Wait, you actually did?
I did, and I just started the second one, but
That's so good.
I haven't read this series in a long time now, because I used to love this series, and the first movie I didn't mind. The second movie was
Was it
bad.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was horrible. Yeah, but looking back on it, because I read it again, the movie is crap compared to the book. It's got nothing to do with it. But yeah, I enjoyed this series as probably 12-year-old, and I'm enjoying it still as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's actually a banger book series. I remember reading them as well as a kid. That sounds tempting as hell to reread. Have you?
It is. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Have you read Skullduggery Pleasant? Have you heard of that?
I have. I haven't read all of them. I've got a few books here at home, but I read a few, but not all of them at all.
No, I remember as a kid I used to read them all the time, and actually like on the holidays, I like bought 3 of the books from like some secondhand bookstore, and they're actually bangers. Even though I read them as a kid, to be honest, they're actually so almost vulgar. It's kind of like, how did I read this as a kid?
Yeah, it's like it's not vulgar as such, but I read what's it called?
Cherub or something.
No, I never actually read Cherub, the Cherub series.
Cherub's classic, dude.
I remember I read like one of them, and that was it. But
yeah.
All right, so 2 different series. I Am Number 4.
Yes.
That series. Yeah. That's a banger. That series is a banger series.
Banger series. Yeah.
And then I can't remember what it's called. I think it's not Gone. Is it Gone?
Yes, I think it's like Lost and then Gone, and then is it with the big title thing on the front of the book?
Yes, I
think I know.
And then it's got like plague in this plague.
Yes,
yeah. It's about the guys that get stuck in the dome or whatever. They're like they're all under 14, and everybody else gets like teleported out of the zone, the dome. And yeah, I'm probably gonna end up reading that again after I finish this series as well.
It's good. I didn't fully read that. It was one of those ones where I read it for a little bit and gave up, but hearing about it,
it's also got a spin-off series, I'm pretty sure as well, which I've got right here behind my desk. I haven't read it. I got it for Christmas, and I just have not read it yet.
That's kind of good though. Like, one thing I do forget is like how good books are. Like, you quite literally can't beat books in some aspects.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Everyone's like, oh, that you have to, imagine stuff, or it takes too much effort. But in reality, it's like, I don't know. I feel like once you get into it, it's good. But for some reason, it feels like a time commitment that feels more harsh than other activities. Maybe that's why people don't read as much. Why do you think people don't read as much? Like,
I don't know. I guess some people might not have time to do it. But like, I don't know. I don't know why people. Some people. Don't get me wrong. I can see why some people wouldn't enjoy certain books and certain series. Don't get me wrong. That's completely me as well. Like, there's certain series that I wouldn't enjoy reading. But like, for me, reading, I've just been reading. I'll have my book up the other end in front of the TV, and while my parents are watching TV, I'll just be reading for, half an hour. It's also good. I start it mainly to like half an hour before I'm going to bed, just to detox from, my computer, my phone, all that.
That's a good idea. Yeah. I hear a lot of people doing that actually, which is a good idea. I used to do that a lot as a kid.
It's interesting. I'm feeling like that I'm sleeping a bit better as well.
No, so, I think that would actually quite, like, despite it not seeming quite explicit, maybe to some people as prevalent, like, directly, like, actually, I'm sure it'd have an impact, like, especially in your sleep, for sure. No,
when I was younger, I'm talking about primary school level, I would read for half an hour before I'd go to sleep.
I used to do the same, dude. I used to do the same.
I feel everybody did that as a child.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a common thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened, dude? What happened?
Literally, what happened? Bro, I wish I had time for that, firstly.
Dude, I remember reading, like, Lord of the Rings when I used to live back in, like, on a farm. And I used to read, like, an hour of Lord of the Rings every night. And I ended up finishing, like, the chunky book as a kid. And it was just crazy. It was like, every night I would get to dive in. And it would take me so long to read, like, 10 pages because it was also... So, like, littered with complex words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was always kind of cool, like, chipping away at something like that. Especially something like...
I haven't read Lord of the Rings series at all, but, I mean, I enjoy the movies.
Yeah, the movies are good, yeah. It's pretty techers. Like, it's hard to understand. But it's still good. I recommend it if you ever... Ever want to read a
get around
book?
to it?
Yeah.
It's like my sister's got the whole series of what's it called? Freak. Game of Thrones.
Game of
I
War.
said Game of
Game of
War.
War, dude.
The ad.
Game of War, Fire Age, dude.
Like Game of Thrones, yeah. And I mean, I've watched all the seasons, but I haven't read the books. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to get around to it, but it's just a matter of finding time.
I've read the first book, didn't read the rest, and I haven't seen the show. So it's like kind of a weird mix. I want to watch the show. My mum and I, we actually, funny that, me and my mum, like on Fridays, we usually like watch a film, and then we chip away to film like on each a series or whatever that we want to finish. Like we did Star Wars the other day, and she hadn't watched Star Wars before, and she liked it. And I think the next one we're gonna do is Game of Thrones. So it's like, everyone talks about Game of Thrones, and I haven't even seen it, so I feel like I have to culturally get back up with the times.
Yeah, I do recommend it. I mean, I didn't like the last season at all, but I still enjoyed it overall.
I heard it's a pretty decent overall.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've watched Vikings.
My mum loves that show, but I haven't seen
Vikings. It. Oh, Vikings is good. It's good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a bit similar to Game of Thrones in sort of, I want to say medieval sort of aspect of it all.
Yeah, the time and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely.
No, there's a lot of good shows. Is that a BBC show or is that just like a Netflix? I know it's on Netflix or something, but was that originally like an ABC show? Because I'm pretty sure it was like on iView or something. Yeah.
It might have been, yeah.
And I was thinking on that line, like ABC and some of those like free services, like they come up with some really good stuff. Like, crazy good stuff. Actually, one thing I did watch this week that Lion wasn't something I watched this week, but something I actually did was it was some documentary that was posted, I don't know, a month ago, and it was on YouTube and it went kind of viral, I think. And it was of someone did a documentary of their brother that passed away from cancer on their leg. And it goes for an hour, and it's really good. I recommend watching it. It's just about his life, and it's made by the perspective of his brother, and they were super close. And it was interesting to watch. It was a good documentary that I saw this week, so I can recommend that.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
It was touching, really touching, and some good life lessons, good things to learn, and some.
That's good to hear.
Anyway, I feel like
I think we should probably move on to our next segment. Yeah, we've been talking for like 17 minutes already.
Yeah, that's pretty good though. I like talking about films. It's pretty good.
Yeah, same. I enjoy it thoroughly.
It's good fun. All right. Well, I have written down here conspiracy theories / freaky events or mystery stories. I can start us off with something.
Yeah, I think you should start us off here.
Something that's stuck in my head when I saw it. So basically, I came across this, via the internet as it is, and you know how things are with like Reddit and YouTube and all that stuff. Have you heard of those like YouTube channels that do like this kind of like conspiracy theories or like hauntings, like breaking down mysteries and stuff like that? There's some like it's like a whole YouTube sphere for it, like where
I've heard of it.
There's this one really like common one called Unexpected Something or something like that, and it's actually really popular. But anyway. They're basically just like going around like different stories on Reddit or online or YouTube videos or stuff like that and trying to pick out things that are kind of make you feel uneasy or I guess unnerved. And one of them that kind of stuck out with me is just a video I saw of talking about nightclub fires that were happening a few years ago really commonly. It was kind of like, how in 2016 there was like a lot of killer clowns, like there was that was a popular trend. This one was like a legitimately bad thing. Like back in the old days, there was always like fires in like nightclubs and stuff. And there's this one video that exists of the biggest nightclub fire in history called the Station Nightclub Fire. I think I have it written down. Yeah, the Station Nightclub Fire. I might just pull up what I had searched up. It's actually pretty crazy about the Station Nightclub Fire. The reason it's crazy, like you can read about it and be like, oh, that's that's really bad, but like you actually get to see the video in like what he shows, and it's like it's so freaky. Like the vibe is so freaky. Like it's recorded on like some kind of VHS. It's it's a live show, and all of a sudden like the stage literally burst into flames. There was some kind of like issue with like the smoke machine or something, and like the thing, it was literally so packed, like a mosh pit inside a massive club, but everyone was stuck, and someone was recording it, and they ran out, and they run out to the front door, and there's literally like in the people didn't realize that there was exits here and there, but they were all trying to go out the main door, and people were quite literally. It's one of the weirdest like images that stuck in my head is literally people like jammed in the door, like no one was leaving because they like were all trying to rush out of the main door, and they were all jammed inside, like quite literally. Some people were like horizontal, like on their side, like literally stuck on the door. Yeah, I know, like it's actually crazy. And they were and a lot of people died. Let's have a look. I think it was 230 were injured, 132 escaped uninjured, and 100 died just in the main. It was a total of 492 deaths. But 100 just died in that main exit. That was what I was talking about. It was literally one of the. You should obviously only set it up with your discretion, but like, it was on YouTube. And it was like, you know, they were literally just like mosh pitting, and some people, and it was crazy that the guy filming it didn't say anything, and he was just watching it happen. But anyway, just one of the weirdest things I've seen. Like actually was like that bad and was filmed. You know. Anyway, I thought that was really creepy and scary because it was like, whoa, that happened. And
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It was caught on camera as well, and it was like, I just wouldn't think I would see anything like it. That was very common back in that time though, in around the early 2000s, late 90s, like club fires and stuff like that.
The club fires, yeah.
It seems to be fixed a little bit though in terms of like the technology and stuff like that, the way we avoid it. Yeah. You know, I thought that was interesting. Do you have anything, or should I go on to my next thing?
I thought, we were talking about this earlier. I don't have that many, honestly.
Yeah, fair. I mean, the ones that I have that are personal or like real life, they're like ones from like when I was a kid, and like kind of aren't relevant.
Actually, I can tell one. I mean, all right. So this is me young. I always used to think there were like people watching me.
Yeah.
And no, all right. So the reason I would think this, it comes down to the core. All right. So I would be driving, or even if I'm, you know, just because I live on property with lots of trees, I'd be, you know, down there looking at trees, and I think that I'd see people go to, you know, hide behind the trees, just like black figures, and I keep trying to see them, and I don't know. It was just the thing is, it was everywhere I went, and I always thought that, you know, I'd actually see, you know, these black figures going to hide behind the trees.
Like the silhouette of someone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I used to have the same thing as a kid. I used to live on a farm, and there were trees, and I was always like, I used to run up to my dad and be like, Dad, there's someone, like, you know, in the paddock. Someone chasing me, because, you know, I used to go for walks on a big property by myself, and it's like, it kind of gets scary, even in daytime. It's like, you know. But I get what you mean. That's funny.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, not funny, but you know what I mean. It's
not funny, but yeah. I mean, it was weird like that. But yeah.
No, that's fair. I feel like that. I wonder if other people have experienced that. I feel like that almost like, I don't know. I remember
like if more children have, you know, experienced that, because I mean, this is the first time I've ever actually told anyone about that.
Yeah. No, I've experienced something similar. I can double tap you on that. That's I've had this.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. I remember actually one thing I remember from being a kid is when I used to sleep on the farm. I used to like always have my door open. I used to like having light in. And I could always see the staircase directly when I was sleeping. And I remember one time I had a nightmare and I was like crying and screaming because one of the staircases, which was covered in carpet, looked like it had a face on it. Just the pigmentation looked like it had a face. And I remember one time I had a nightmare and I thought like the staircase was flying up and like attacking me. And I was like, I thought it was funny because I was like, dude, that staircase is haunting. It looked like it had an angry face on it. And I was like, oh God.
Jesus.
Dude, I have written down, this really really crazy story that I heard. It's not really a scary story or a creepy story. It's more just like an interesting mystery that's still kind of present. Have you heard of DB Cooper? Have you heard of that?
I haven't. When you were writing that, I was like, I haven't heard of that one.
No, it's I don't know the story, you know, from every pitch of what it is, but I know the general gist, and I thought it was interesting, and I recommend searching it up to anyone who's interested in like conspiracies, mysteries that are unsolved, and stuff like that. If you're into that, I know there's a lot of people out there. I recommend. It's another good one to pick up. Basically, it was some dude who went on a plane, and God, I hope I'm saying the right story because I've seen a lot of them, so I hope I said the right one. It was about a guy who got onto a plane basically, and an air hostess came up to him and he was like, you know, I've got bombs with me. if you know, don't freak out when you read this message I'm giving you. Give me this money or I'll blow up the plane, basically. And they circled around wherever they're landing. I forgot where it was, and they were like, okay, what are we gonna do? So eventually they landed somewhere intermediate, and they gave this guy the money. It was obviously, they give, when there's hostage situations like this, they give them type of money that they can track or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they gave him whatever, $2 million, and he's like, okay, now you're gonna fly me to this spot. So they got the plane up again after they gave him money. They flew him up, and he requested 3 parachutes. And so they gave him 3 parachutes. I don't know why 3 specifically, but there was some kind of thing about putting money in a parachute and like dropping it off somewhere, and him jumping out of a parachute himself, while they were crossing some kind of big vast forest in America, I think. Or maybe he was suspicious of them being faulty parachutes. Either way, he jumped out of the plane, and with the money, and obviously in a situation like that, it's about keeping the people safe. I'm assuming they just went on to land wherever. And obviously, after that situation, people were like, okay, this guy's dead, you know. He's literally jumped into the wilderness with a parachute and a bag of money. There's no way he could have lived. But there was searches for him for days and weeks in the forest, and they couldn't find him at all, and they just assumed he was gone. And they didn't know where the money went. They didn't know anything, and they didn't know for years. And it was like 10 years later, they found the same, like, you know, like they found the same serial number of that money buried on like a beach in a random country, like underground in the beach. Like they like digged up sand in the beach. They found money like sealed, and it was that money that had been stolen. And this was like 20 years later. And they didn't know where this guy had gone. Like they had no idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds. I'm underselling it a lot. I recommend watching. I think it's on YouTube. If you just search up the search for DB Cooper, I think that's the video I watched. That's a really good one, and I recommend it. Like, it's like 20 minutes. It's really interesting, really worth it.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting story. And I thought, like, whoa. It's crazy how, like, that guy may not even be alive, but, like, you know, he got away with that. And, like, now they're just finding his money. It's like, whoa, damn.
Kind of crazy.
A successful heist.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy.
All right, do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Connor, I feel like you can start us off with this better.
Yeah. So All right. So we wrote down extraterrestrial life. We're just gonna, I guess, talk about our thoughts on it. So what do you think of extraterrestrial life?
See, when I hear extraterrestrial, do I think like of the movie E.T. or do I think of like? Does it just mean like aliens, or what is it? What's like the definition? Is there a blanket?
I'm just talking about, you know, different alien species essentially on different planets, etc.
Fair. I mean, if it's like still that kind of that century-old question of like, oh, is extraterrestrial life real? I would say yeah. I mean, I feel like science points to yes. I don't know. I'm not a big science guy, I guess. But I feel like it's likely. Is it not? You know, with
because because the universe is, you know, so vast and, you know, massive, and we're literally a speck of dust in nearly an infinite cosmos, right? That being said, there has to be you'd imagine. All right. So let's take this back to basics. All right. So when you look at for our species and for life to be present on, you know, this type of planet, there's something called the Goldilocks zone. And in this zone, you know, it's not too close to the sun, so all the water dries up, and it's not too far from the sun, so, you know, all the water freezes. So our planet Earth, we live in that zone, and the theory is that for life to exist on another planet, it has to, you know, be living within that exact same zone,
because of the water. Is that got to do with
exactly?
The water? Yeah.
And when you look at the, you know, astronomical amount of different solar systems within different galaxies within our universe, and that's within the observable universe, that being said, it's massive. So I am a firm believer that, you know, there is extraterrestrial life out there, probably not nearby, but, you know, a million light years away.
I think that's crazy. Like you said, the Goldilocks zone. I have never heard of that in my life, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, because like I'm not a science guy, as I said, but like the sun's, you know, the further you are away, things are colder, I assume, because the sun's such a big mass, isn't it? It's so big, so you know. So like, I remember, I think we mentioned actually the other week on the podcast that like the history of the whole world. I think I said.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And it did mention something about like, you know, the planet started off being, you know, whatever, water, or, you know, there was meteors that made land and stuff like that, or you know, kind of that kind of stuff. What stops us? So we're in this zone that's like, you know, not too hot, not too cold. So therefore we can have life because of water and stuff like that.
Well, the theory is water is essential for all life.
Yeah. That's like a century-old thing as well, that kind of saying, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't it like, don't we have the ozone layer that's like almost like protecting us from the UV from the sun? Is that right? The radiation?
Yeah, but so, I mean, it lets through a bit of UV. Obviously, it lets through quite a lot of UV, but, you know, if we didn't have an ozone layer or atmosphere, then, you know, yeah, we'd be dead.
The question is, when is that ozone layer gonna burn up?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting about the extraterrestrial life though. See, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. So I guess I hope there's like, you know, cool aliens out there. But I mean, let's be real. Imagine if you saw one. Like everyone, like, you know, I feel like I'm not one of those chads, but when you see like the movies, it's like, oh yeah, why are they acting so scared? Like, you know, why aren't they like, whoa, that's like cool ass. Like, imagine if you saw like, you know, you see an animal on TV and you're like, okay, I understand what animals look like. And, you know, even us, like, you think humans look weird. I mean, everything looks weird. Yeah. But, like, imagine if you saw, like, you know, an animal that was, you know, never seen before. A creature that was never seen before, you know. Yeah. That was, imagine if it was humanoid. Imagine if it wasn't. Or I know, realistically, it's probably like, oh, yeah, look at that bacteria, you know, that you can't even see flying in the air. But, like, surely there's something, surely, Connor, there's something. My thing is, being the normie I am that I don't know much about space life, is surely there's an extraterrestrial being out there that's tangible for us to see, like, you know, that exists, that's like you or me, or like a dog, or like an animal, I think, you know? So. Do you reckon? So, as opposed to like, you know, invisible microscopic bit of bacteria.
I'm a firm believer of that as well, yes.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I reckon that'd be so cool, like imagine one day, you know, whoa, look.
But the thing is, they wouldn't be speaking our language, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They would just speak no language known to our humankind.
God, that's weird. God, I'm waiting for the day where it's like, imagine that. I had the thought the other day, right? Because even like, oh, things surprise us. Like, oh my God, coronavirus. Like, coronavirus, it was a surprise, right? But it was still within the realm of our understanding. You know what I mean? Like, viruses and pandemics are known to humans before. So it was a surprise, but it wasn't out of the blue, out of the picture, no one expected it. Imagine if tomorrow, or 10 minutes away from now, a random species like smarter than us, more developed than us, literally like I don't know, I'm just throwing words out here, hyperdrive speeds like into our planet and lands with like some, I don't know, they've got like, you know, two tentacle heads, or I don't know, fucking big eyes, slimy bodies, and they're like fish people or something. And then there's like, speaking different language. Like, imagine that, like something out of the spur happens like that, and then essentially like, I don't know, the whole world changes. Like anything like that, I feel like could happen at any time. I don't know if I'm just being a dumb theorist, but like imagine that. That'd be kind of cool, you know, not cool.
Yeah, I mean,
something. Something.
I don't know how.
I'm sorry.
I just keep interrupting. I'm just gonna bring it back. I don't know how, you know, you said traveling through the hyperspace, or you know, using a hyperdrive. Obviously that's Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
Something like that. But because the theory behind that is you're traveling faster than the speed of light, and
can't do that.
I don't know. There's no way you can travel faster than the speed of light. That's, you know.
Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of not like the specific references I was making, more just like, imagine if there was a extraterrestrial occurrence that was out of our realm of understanding at the time. You know what I mean? Like encountering something that was out of our understanding. You know, like an alien,
like a more advanced species as well.
Yeah, we would have. How could you even? You know how like Star Wars is a concept that we've conceived, and laser swords are a concept that we've conceived, and you kind of like, it's like that kind of thing as well, being a film student as well, like, there is no story out there that you will ever like originally create, you know what I mean?
Imagine it's all adaptations.
Exactly. Imagine if there was an actual concept, kind of, because of real life experience, that actually created a new concept from like extraterrestrial life. How crazy would that be, like, you know?
That would be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. But I mean, obviously, we don't know. We might become, farmed for meat, and I mean, I guess we get what we deserve because, well, I mean,
Get what we deserve.
It's the way of life. I don't know. You could go into a whole bunch of stuff there.
We could, but
yeah.
We're not going to today.
Yeah, we're not going to today.
But we don't want to fall down that rabbit hole. We've got a few more things to speak about, I guess.
Yeah, it's still fun to always speculate about though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well, what's the next thing on the list, Connor? You want to take us
the next thing on the list we're talking about today is something I think we've talked about nearly every episode. It's just gaming in general.
It's almost like I feel like one thing that's kind of set in stone is like kind of movies and gaming because it's something we're both passionate about. So it's kind of like it's almost
exactly
topics.
So but I guess we're gonna start off. There's a recent it's still in alpha beta testing.
It was in closed beta and then it's now in open beta.
Open beta, yeah. So it's in open beta. It's called Rogue Company. It's available on consoles and PC through the Epic Game Store if you're interested. It's actually I'm quite enjoying it, honestly.
A lot of people are. It's really fun. I played it a lot in closed beta because I was fortunate enough to get a key. I think it's called beta key, and I played it I think in June or July, and I played it for a few months, and it was really fun. But it was I couldn't play it much because I didn't have anyone to play it with. And then everyone, Lockie, I think was like, oh yeah, there's this new game, man. I'm like, oh, I remember playing that game, and now everyone seems to be quite enjoying it. So it's good that games like that are kind of people enjoy and then people play together. What kind of game is it, Connor?
So I guess it's a bit high. So it's a bit like COD, I want to say, but not at the same time. So it's a third person shooter. You've got these avatars called rogues. They're basically if you play R6, they're basically essentially the operators. You can only have one per team, etc. And then so there's three different game modes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think there's
demolition, extraction, and
strikeout or something like that. Yeah.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've mainly been playing demolition, which is a bit like if you play Counter-Strike, there's two sites, A and B. I guess, or even Valorant, there's two sides.
It's like a tac shooter basically in that way.
Yeah, there's two sides, A or B. Attacking team aims to plant the bomb, and defending team doesn't want them to. So yeah.
I would describe the game similarly. I would also describe it more like a tac shooter, like a third-person tac shooter. Mainly because the time to kill is pretty low, I would say, relatively. Even though you can get rezzed,
slow,
but it's like the gunplay is quick. It's not slow, and I think that's why people enjoy it a lot as well because it's like it's fast-paced. Yeah, it's fast-paced and it's free. So if you have a console or a computer out there, I recommend trying it. It's really fun.
Absolutely.
And
it's 4-man squads. You can also create your own custom lobbies if you have more people to play 4-on-4 or 3-on-3, etc.
Yeah, it's good fun. I recommend trying it. It's not the same as other tac shooters, and it's third person, and yeah, it's good fun. I think you have a lot of good fun with it.
It is, yeah. I'm enjoying it.
I wanted to talk about the new COD beta. Have you seen Did you see the beta that was out? I think it's already finished though. Like it was super quick.
Finished
like 1 week
today, I think.
Pretty sure. What is it called? COD Black Ops Cold War?
Black Ops Cold War.
The Call of Duty. I don't know. I find it really hard to talk about Call of Duty, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. Did you watch any of the beta? Did you end up catching any of the...
I watched a little bit of Toto Sage's stream when he was playing it, but not too much more, really.
Yeah, I watched a few mates play it and a few streamers. Like, obviously the quality of like how it looks is really good because it's a AAA game, but like even the UI, it feels like a Control-C, Control-V of Modern Warfare. I don't know. Yeah. It does a lot to me. I don't know why.
I felt that as well.
Just a little bit. It may still be a good game because Modern Warfare is a relatively good, clean game. But it was more just linking onto the topic of like, I don't know, how not in a day and age where we kind of have these standards that people get cancelled over if they don't abide to them. How is I don't know, how is Activision and stuff allowed to post the same game every year? Like that's
excessive. EA isn't with FIFA.
Yeah, and that's excessive. That's like, it's almost the same game. I know there's separate studios making each one each year, but like even so, like that is a lot. Like that's a lot of COD. And like you buy one for $100 USD. I mean like 100 AUD or you know AUD, 70 AUD USD or whatever. And like next year there's another game. Like you barely get into the game and the next one's already out, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like
it is.
I don't know.
Like personally, I played quite a few CODs in my life. And I'm still gonna stand by it. My favorite COD ever was Black Ops 2. And that was years ago on the PS3. The PS5 is just about to be released. Like this was released something like 8 years ago probably or something. Some maybe more. And that's my favorite COD by far. And before that, Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, I had I think I played COD as a kid, like at friends' house and stuff, but I never was like one of those people to have it myself. But I remember the culture and the good times you could have around like a game of multiplayer COD, like even the original Modern Warfare and stuff like that. But like I don't know, I feel like COD has lost that culture, and that culture's disappeared with time because LAN doesn't happen anymore. You know, like you used to go to a friend's house and play on their console and stuff like that. But even so, I don't know. I feel like
something else they also got rid of was the zombie. They got rid of COD Zombies.
Yeah, apparently it's coming back for
quite a few. Yeah, apparently it's coming back, and I think I read somewhere it might be free. I don't know if that was just me messing with a few things, but it might be free. And I mean, it's like, you know what, I'd absolutely be down to play that because playing you know zombies in Black Ops 2, and even in I think I played Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 zombies as well. I loved it. It was it's fun to play mainly with mates, whether it's LAN or over the internet. It's just it's good to play.
Yeah, I've never been like a COD person, but I've been willing to try it. I guess the fact that the market's convoluted makes it hard to kind of like be like, oh, which one of the 100 do I buy? But like I know Zombies is one of those games where it's like even if you don't play COD, you can just go to a friend's house and play it, and anyone can jump in, which is really good. But also it's got that hardcore kind of aspect for hardcore players. If there was like a good free or like a good Zombies, I would be definitely willing to try it. And that's something that they can bring people back with.
Yeah. Something I do want to ask you though, because have you played Zombies before, COD Zombies?
I've played it exclusively at friend's house. I've never played it by myself.
All right, so in the more recent ones, there's been a bit of either a storyline or Easter eggs to complete. And in the early ones, it was just round to round, playing the game. What would you prefer?
See, the Zombies, I don't know enough about the history of Zombies, but I would say from an outside point of view and like a pretty normie point of view, I would say that it would be better without a story. I know the story can usually have some good aspects on how the maps interlink and how the progression of the map can interlink, but I think that can happen without a story. I don't think everyone that I've seen, even the hardcore fans, they don't usually seem to care about the story of COD in terms of the actual zombie story. I feel like it's an arcade shooter in terms of zombies. It's a wave-based arcade shooter kind of style. I think I think some lore's okay and some some character concepts, because I know there's when you you full player COD you can have there's this character and this character yeah. But I think like an actual story wouldn't work. I don't think, unless you made a whole separate campaign little thing with it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like a story, but like I don't know if you've heard of there's two different ones. Mob of the Dead.
Yep.
And oh, I can't remember the other one. It's with the big giant robot. I think it's O. I don't know. Anyway, they're not campaign as such, but they're bigger maps. There's Easter eggs to do. Things you can turn the power on. There's tasks you should do as well. I honestly I think I prefer that to just your general wave to wave.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that kind of progression is good. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that gives the game a little bit more depth, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Zombies is a fun mode, but I feel like it's also it's very grindy in terms of
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We also have down eSpeak. You wanted to talk about eSpeak, or that kind of blanket term, yeah. I'm doing cool stuff with that.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't know what eSpeak is, I guess it's the language that gamers, not just gamers though, the language that people use on the internet, like PogChamp, all that sort of stuff, and and using it IRL, and I know personally if I use it around my parents, they're just like, "What's that mean? What's that mean?" And I find actually sometimes you can't describe what it means. It's just you have to know what it is. Do you find it the same?
Yeah, I get that. I know there's I've said it around my I've said it around my mum, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I've been like, "Oh, yeah, it means "Oh, hell yeah, sick," or whatever." And she's like, "Oh," she just doesn't question it now.
Yeah.
I usually personally I try and refrain from using eSpeak in real life unless it's a joke with friends that I know use eSpeak, or like you, or But in real life, I usually don't say eSpeak. But when I do say it by accident, it usually slips out. I'm like, "Oh, PogChamp, that's fucking sick." And then it's like, "Oh wait, I just said that. No one's gonna know what that means." But yeah.
See, most of the time, because again, my brother's a streamer, they'll be watching the stream and he'll say something, and then they ask me, and I'm just like, it's hard to explain.
Yeah. No, I get you. I know there's a little bit of a stigma around using eSpeak and how people are like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of cringe and stuff." I think it's okay if you do it in whatever context. But yeah, around especially like people who obviously context based. If I do it around you or other mates like that, I'll say it.
It just depends on the social aspect, because each person has their own idiolect and impacted by the surrounding sociolect. It just changes.
You're throwing these terms out, dude. I don't know what these are.
I'm putting out my English language
the skills.
Yeah, the stuff I learned over 12 months ago.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I agree with you in most of that stuff with eSpeak. I think that's pretty it's a pretty, not a hot topic, but a pretty relevant topic that I know people have brought up a few times with eSpeak. Yeah. We also have down Among Us, dude. Among Us. The hype of Among Us. I feel like we've covered like a lot of the hype games, which is good. We're covering what's hot and relevant, in the gaming world. And Among Us
has still managed to stay relevant, and like it's what it came out in 2018, I think they said, or something.
I mean, it popped
and it
up
recently gained traction.
Yeah.
And like it's funny, because none of our friends play it that much, and I enjoy playing it honestly. So sometimes I'll jump into public lobbies, but it's just not the same. So it's interesting because I'm even enjoying watching YouTubers play it. Like I haven't watched YouTubers play games in quite a while unless I'm generally interested like this.
No, I agree with you. I watch a few YouTubers play it, and they seem to get like a good group of friends around and a good lobby, and it's like really good fun. We have a few friends that play it as well. But it'd be good to find like not a hardcore lobby, but a lobby that's passionate.
And, so I mean, listeners, if you are passionate about Among Us and want some people to play with, message us. Leave a comment on our YouTube or whatever, or send it to me a message on our social media, and we'd love to play.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game, and it's one of those games that you gotta play it socially. You gotta play it with people with talking and stuff like that. It's a pretty good it's a good game for everyone, and I think it's almost done a little bit of what Fortnite has done. It's a lot of people that I know don't play games at all play Among Us, so it's it's got that reach, it's got that accessibility for everyone, which is kind of good for a game like that, especially being this popular.
Because I mean it's simple, it's basic, and it's good to play with friends.
And it's also got that level of kind of it's almost playing like a charades game at a party, if you're having a gathering and you play let's play not like Scrabble, but you know what I mean, like charades, or let's play a word game, let's play truth or dare. For some reason it feels something like a little bit like that. It's like there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of I'm gonna trick you and do this, I'm gonna do this cool little thing, and we're gonna have a laugh while doing it, and
lots of yelling.
Yeah, and it's good fun. I mean everyone gets into it, so I think that's why it's awesome. Yeah. It's good fun. Everyone gets passionate. Our final thing was covering the relevancy of a bit of sports within our area.
World. Yeah.
Football is popular here
in Australia, and then I'll be talking about footy, AFL, and Raph will be talking about tennis, aka the French Open. So I've been I wouldn't say diehard supporter, but I've been a long time supporter of Geelong. And if you've kept up with AFL, Geelong are in the grand final. So I'm just upset, I guess, that it's happening in Brisbane this year instead of Melbourne, obviously due to COVID. Because I definitely would have camped out there for 2 days beforehand to get tickets. Absolutely. But yeah, they're playing Richmond, who, don't get me wrong, they've got. I'm not gonna say anything because I'll get yelled at by people. I just don't like. No, I don't like some of the supporters and Tom Lynch, basically.
See, that's the thing with footy that I've always found interesting as someone kind of who's not really into footy. Like, it's like almost like the teams have rivalries, but like the supporters, like it's an actual like subset that people.
Supporters are worse than the teams.
Yeah, the supporters. Is there like personality archetypes that come with being a certain supporter, or?
I don't think so. I think it's more just the way that like certain fans of certain teams will go out of their way to say that they're the best or whatever, and be really they'll have a really high ego of their team, and it just pisses you off because it's just like, shut up, please.
Yeah. So you go for Geelong.
I go for Geelong. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my family is like a Collingwood family. I don't really go for anyone, but is Collingwood a good team? I don't know. You have to tell me.
I don't mind Collingwood. I guess there's a little bit of a rivalry between Collingwood and Geelong. Okay. But I don't mind them as a team. Don't get me wrong, their supporters used to be way worse than they are today.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, I hear they're pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about footy, but yeah, my whole family is Collingwood. Like, I thought like Collingwood was kind of washed up. Or are they not washed anymore?
They're not too washed. We beat them by 70 or something in the semi-final.
That's a lot of points, isn't it?
That's a lot, yeah. But then again, we're in the grand final, so whether in the top two teams, they're still in the top 6. I think they made in the end, which is still a fair effort since there's 18 teams.
Oh yeah, there's that many teams. That's crazy.
Teams. I don't know. Damn. 18 or 16 teams. I don't know. No, 16. Yeah. 16.
I've been to the footy once in my life when I was like 6, and it was alright. I used to like footy a little bit, but I kind of just, I don't know.
Yeah, I've only ever been to one AFL game, and
oh really? Yeah.
It was Essendon and who was the other team that played? I think it was Collingwood. Essendon and Collingwood. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only game I've ever been to.
Damn. Yeah, no, I went to a Collingwood game as well. I feel like it's still a good environment. It's fun. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's good to have a look at. Yeah.
I was just gonna talk about the tennis really quick. If anyone in the comments or who's watching saw the French Open, another big year this year. Nadal, of course, won again on clay, which is he always wins. If you know anything about tennis, Connor, Nadal wins like whenever he's on clay, that surface, he wins every year, and he's won 13 French Opens. I don't think it's in a row. I can't remember. I'm not too much of a diehard in terms of following it, but like he's won 13 of them on clay, which is crazy. That's like the most in history on this surface and at this tournament. Kind of like Roger Federer with Wimbledon. And it just amazes me that like he versus Djokovic, which is you would have heard of Djokovic surely.
Yeah, no.
One of the number one players of our generation, young, fit, younger than Nadal for sure. Very talented player, and yet he still gets trumped on clay by Nadal, who's years older. But it's almost like, how can a surface have so much impact on someone's play? I
guess the traction's different, the ball bounce is different. He might have grown up playing on clay rather than the synthetic.
It's crazy though, but like it wasn't a close. It was close, but like it was a dominant performance like against two great players. Like it was like 6-love the first set, and it was just crazy how much he still dominates at that age. That's what I wanted to point out. Was like he's still got it. He's still got it. Yeah. And he's gonna be he's gonna go down in history. I used to play on clay a lot when I was a hardcore tennis player. And like there was differences, but tennis is still tennis. He still seems to when he's in the net. Yeah, when he's in his element, he seems to destroy it. Like even the best players in the world, he 6-loves. Anyway. Wanted to bring that out. Yeah. It was a pretty good final if anyone watched it, and I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts if you guys are interested.
Yeah. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of today's episode. It's actually a pretty long episode as well.
Yeah, it's relatively
short an hour. Thanks for watching this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Reminder: If you've got any content ideas or questions that you want us to answer on the stream, leave a comment or send us a video on our socials. Send us a message on our socials. That's all in our YouTube description, or that's.
Or if you
can just on Instagram.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, just hit us up on Instagram. It's as simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's all we have to say. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for our Halloween special with our surprise guest.
Yeah, we are getting a really scary person on for the Halloween special.
You guys will be horrified who we get.
It's really fitting, a scary person for a scary time.
Scary person, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
all right.
Catch you later, guys.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy.